It's the Full Force News Burst, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod, AKA Diagnostic 80. Now let's get into the news.
Full Force!
Mic is on yet. There we go. Is my mic now working? Hopefully it should be. There we go. Hi guys, hope everyone's doing well. I'm not, clearly, because I didn't turn my mic on. Yes, there we go. Hope everyone's doing well. I was just saying I've gone full vagabond, clearly, with the giant beard. So yeah, hope everyone's doing really well. On this Tuesday, November the 4th, at 6, well, it was 6:16 when I first started talking about this. It's now 6:17, the classic time to go live. Anyway, yes, I'm here. I'm in the house, and I hope everyone is having a good Tuesday, innit? Now, pre-orders, classified retro pre-orders went up earlier at 1 p.m. Eastern today for the CG, the female CG, Zap and Crazy Legs. So we'll be talking about that tonight. Just checking that mic level. Yeah, we'll be talking about that tonight, and that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, but you know, it's pretty. I mean, we have to do an episode. I have to do a talk a little bit about it. We've got slightly more posed promo images. It's a stretch calling them promo images, isn't it, when it's just literally on usually a black background or a transparent background, sometimes with an explosion in there, sometimes not. You don't get all of the images. I don't get that either. It's hilarious. And one of the images I'm highlighting from Crazy Legs is an absolute banger. Anyway, let's get stuck into it. It's news. Hello, everyone in the comments as well. Lots of you already. The famous Steve Martin is in the chat. Hello, Steve. Hello, Bad Wolf. Hello, Airborne Custom 610, Stanley, Checkpoint. All of you guys. Hello. Thank you for jumping on and saying hi. Mark 587. Hey, Chris, how's everything going? Everything's going great. Got some more pre-orders today. Jeremy says, wonder how crazy his legs are. Like slightly crazy or need to be on medication crazy. I would say Crazy Legs, based on his head sculpt, has the craziest legs ever. Blitz says, oh, we're going live. We are indeed. 77T John says, got my order in, no problem, other than the future hurt to my wallet. Lol, indeed. Hello, Sinister 606 of the 616. Sorry for getting that completely wrong. It was just, I couldn't read it the way I was looking at it. I wish they would do more with the retro photography. I'm tired of the black backgrounds, says Airborne Customs. Yes, same. I kind of feel like they need to put the same sort of effort and energy into the sort of diorama images with these guys as they do with the others. Is it like a continuation of the slightly more or slightly less sort of budgetary going into the retro? You know, you can tell that because obviously there's a lot of reuse. There's a lot of repaints that do make sense for the most part. And obviously we've got the whole new female Crimson Guard, so you know there is a lot of new in here, and a new Crazy Legs head as well to kind of really rub it in. There's a lot of new actually in these three figures, but still, especially when you consider the new head sculpt for Zap as well. So it's like 2 new head sculpts on the other 2 figures, and then a full-on brand new friggin' figure for the female Crimson Guard. Good evening to everyone here tonight, indeed, and to you too, Alfredo. Bad Wolf says, I almost forget about pre-orders today. I actually didn't go to the page until I got the email from Hasbro about 1:15 Eastern. Luckily, it was before the CG was sold out. Yes, I just noticed that the female Crimson Guard is sold out, and we'll start with the female Crimson Guard. But yes, it's sold out now on Pulse, but you'll probably be able to get her on like Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, one of those places, unless she's sold out there as well. But yeah, as far as I can tell, Hasbro Pulse is a sellout for the female CG. Not a surprise, I would say. A new, never before done sort of figure with the female Crimson Guard. Yes, it's a Crimson Guard, which is something we definitely have 100% had in the past. But in the female variety, that's something we haven't had. So I'm genuinely not surprised that we're getting a good successful return, I would say, on this particular figure. Not surprised in the slightest, actually. Yeah, but you still can get Zap and Crazy Legs. They're still available. She's a beauty, says Chris G. I skipped female Crimson Guard, says Jeremy Kimberlin, and now you're going to be upset, aren't you? You're going to be wanting to get it. Rancid Dragon Productions also skipped the female CG. Wilfredo says, I'm glad that the figures are easy to pre-order and didn't sell out too quickly. Rancid says, wait, another head sculpt for Zap? Did I miss something? No, his head sculpt is a new head sculpt, is what I was saying. Like, we haven't had Zap yet, so his head sculpt is effectively unique to the line. I was talking about the tooling costs within the retro line, and that they're usually a little bit lower budget wise because you've got like a lot of reuse. And then I realized in this lineup, you've actually got Zap's head, which is a unique tool, Crazy Legs head, which is a unique tool, and then the Crimson Guard full on is a unique tool. I wasn't saying he's got an extra head. He does not come with an alternate head. We need a female eel, female viper, and female Xandar, says Ryan Daly. How much new tooling for female CG? I don't actually know, Stanley. I just know that obviously there's a lot of it because there isn't a lot you can reuse for that figure. It's quite a unique figure in general. I'd have to see, like, we'll probably see the input that Lenny did at some point on his Instagram, and then sometimes what he'll do is he'll highlight the parts that are new on it. It depends what kind of input we get. I've seen him post inputs before that have got the new parts highlighted and the older reused parts sort of like grayed out. So it'd be really cool to see an input of that, basically, with that one. Still hoping for a single 2-pack with a male and female with unmasked heads for the named characters, says 77T John. Yeah, I think you're gonna get this again. You're gonna get this particular figure again. It's the deco, not the concept. I want female CG, just not the bright red silver mask deco. Got it, Jeremy, got it. Is it weird that Zap is retro before he's classified or calcified, as you've written there, Rancid, which is even funnier? Is it weird that Zap is retro before classified? Is it? It's weird because, like, all of the, like, I feel like Duke and Scala, obviously, based on the fact that they had that first version come out, were obviously following a classified release, you could say, with those particular versions. But it's not, I mean, like, that Duke is a brand new Duke in the retro line. That Scarlet is a brand new Scarlet in the retro line. So they have kind of kicked off effectively, not character wise, but specific version wise. They have kicked that off in the retro line. I know, like, obviously, you know, where we've had Recondo, he was a redeco from Tiger Force. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all of the. Cobra Commander was a redeco of the HasLab figure. Viper was like a retro Viper, though. Cobra Trooper was, yeah. So anyway, is it weird? I don't really know. I don't think so, because I think it's really a case of going, where does Zap work? Does he work, you know, on a retro card? Sort of does. Do you want to put him in classified regular wave? If you did, would he be much different? Probably not. I don't think we're getting a Zap in classified at, like, mainline, if that makes sense. I don't think there's any need for it. I don't really understand why you need them in both lines. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that need to have that particular figure done again, but in the classified series, as in the mainline series. It just doesn't really make much sense to me. Like, I feel like he kind of fits nicely in that retro vibe. I don't necessarily think it's weird as much as he is a heavy reuse, so it probably makes sense for them to do it in the retro card backs. We still need Alt World Baroness's lingerie guard, says Christy. Do we? Do we really? Good evening, Derek. It's 100% new tooling for female CG itself. Thank you. That's good to know. So the whole thing is 100% new tooling. I kind of figured that anyway. It's too unique a figure to reuse any parts. I mean, I was thinking maybe like the thighs could be reused, or the upper arms, or like the shoulders could, but no, like in this case, yeah, it makes sense that it's 100% completely brand new. Picked up Zap and the female. I have no need for crazy legs. How harsh, Derek. That episode made me a man as a kid, says Chris G. Wow. Hello, Bias. Ryan says, I think they're aggressively trying to get the OG-13 out this year, and this was the best place for him in the line plan. Very good shout. Definitely need a female eel along with female snow serpent, says Blitz. They would be really good. What was the female X-Men character with an eye patch? I'm thinking Laura 343 custom. The female X-Men character with an eye patch. Callisto, someone says. Scott says. I feel terrible that I can't answer that question. I love the X-Men. I'm thinking Laura 343 custom. Yes, I see what you're saying, Barking Fridge. I would love it if they just did another release of this with Laura 343's head, or like multiple troop building unmasked heads would be really cool, actually, wouldn't they? Flint and Beachhead were brand new, but yeah, also there were other versions of them out there. But yeah, it's not like we got Zap classified somewhere early on, and I kind of understand why. It wasn't like it's not like the most interesting figure design, etc., to kind of bring in to that kind of updated classified style, or maybe it's the perfect figure to have an updated classified version of. But yeah, in terms of doing Zap as is with the retro again in classified, I don't see the point. Obviously, where Sonic Fighters comes into play, other versions of Zap, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, let's get Sonic Fighters Zap in there, please. Love that figure. Or is it Super Sonic Fighters? He might be a Super Sonic Fighters. I can't remember off the top of my head. Those two merge into one, unfortunately for me, in my head. Rancid said they put Steeler and Short Fuse in mainline, and they're as retro as they come. They two-packed them though, didn't they? You can't really do that on retro card. And I think one of the reasons for that was, one, again, as mentioned before, to kind of get them into the line as quickly as possible. And two, probably because Steeler would have had to have come with a vehicle otherwise. So they had to sort of two-pack some of them, or one of them, two of them technically, in order to do that. But yeah, yes, they are. Hang on, are they mainline or are they Pulse exclusive? Steeler and Short Fuse were Target. No, what were they? Were they Pulse exclusive? I feel like Steeler and Short Fuse were Pulse exclusive. I know, and when we talk mainline, it has to be everywhere, doesn't it? Mainline means everywhere, like Pulse, friggin' online retailers, in store, like you get it everywhere. It's just the format by which they sell it. Not version 2 Zap, says David. No, I would say yes. Definitely version 2 Zap, 100%. You're not going to do well. I would like to see version 2 Zap, aka Sonic Fighters Zap. I'd like to see him on a retro card personally. I think that's where we could get some really cool and interesting retro cards, like what they're doing with the Spider-Man Marvel Legends, and doing really cool old school homages to those figures on card backs. Like, that's what I want to see in Joe. I don't want to see the same black explosion background every single time. I was like absolutely over the moon that they introduced the digital explosion background. Like, that made me very happy. Way too happy. And then they sort of didn't get the art right for it. So it's like at some point, I feel like they're going to hit it like perfect. And you're going to get the right wave of figures. The artwork's going to be on point, and they're not going to run it through some sort of AI filter. And then you get you get them on like a different card back, like Ninja Force and Sonic Fighters and friggin' all that kind of good stuff. Bias says, I don't think Zap Stealer Short Fuse will see more releases than the ones we are getting now. I sort of agree with that. I think you might be able to see like a Night Force Stealer, maybe. Like, I think that would work because we do have Night Force Stealer kind of out there. So maybe he could kind of show up in like another HasLab somewhere as like a tier. If they did classified Zap, they should do it like Grunt with the modern gear, says Supdon 3. I agree, 100%. Droz says, good evening, everybody. The Lady CG looks great. She really does. Only reason I can see is people who display the boxes, maybe. Oh, I say Cropster. I see what you're saying now. So, like in a, yeah, if you've got like your OG13 and they're all in different boxes, which let's face it, at this point, they are anyway. Like the Retro Duke, Retro Scar, you know, most of them are retro cards, aren't they? And then you've got like Target Breaker, you've got Mainline Doc. Are there any others? Well, Doc was afterwards, wasn't he? But you know what I mean. Stalker was retro. Snake Eyes was retro as well, an older retro card, so it's different to the newer retro cards. What a nightmare packaging wise. Let's not get into the packaging because it's only going to cause more conversation in a bad way. Anyway, these are all the Crimson Guard promo images, lots of them to get stuck into. I stole a few of the black background explosion ones off Hasbro Pulse when they posted their kind of post about this, and then the rest of them just come from Hasbro Pulse, their little carousel of images, which is interesting that they were all just that, you know, there wasn't a lot that some of them didn't have the card. In fact, none of them had the card backs in there yet. They may have updated that since. That might have changed, but at the time when I was, you know, transferring all the images over, nope, nada. Hang on, sorry. Me buzzing off the chisane. Right. What else are we saying in the chat? I'm a bit behind, so I'm getting to everyone's comments, or trying to anyway. As long as we get Zap, I don't care in which package it comes in, says Luke. Callisto the Morlock, says Ryan. I think we covered Callisto. So yeah, everyone's saying Callisto. There's like a whole ton of people saying Callisto. I skipped the retro versions of Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Stalker because I like the mainline versions. I thought about getting them because I have most of the other OG13 in both versions, but I don't see retro card versions of Clutch or Grunt to be released, so I don't mind having a mix of both styles, says Bad Wolf Media. So that was my first OG13 as a kid, says Derek. Yeah, everyone's saying Callisto, apart from David who said Domino, but Domino, yeah, it's not going to work, is it, for Laura 343? Bad Wolf Media got it. Also, we need Strato Vipers to come along, says Droz. Hell yeah. I'd love a Strato Viper with a Night Raven, please and thank you. They should have made Zap an extra set of hands with broken thumbs, says GL Genius. I still want a Fred 7 head sculpt, don't we all, Derek? Target shipped my Stealer and Short Fuse today. That was a pleasant surprise. Oh, it was Target, was it? It was a Target exclusive, wasn't it? Of course it was. So yeah, it wasn't even mainline Stealer and Short Fuse. Troop Builder head packs, you say, I accept, says Blitz. Cliff says, hey, FF, just got here. How you doing, Cliff? We'll just get through these couple more images here of the female Crimson Guard. What about Zap 1.5, aka Backblast? I like that thinking, Ryan. I like that thinking indeed. Backblast does seem to be a version 2 of, it could be a couple. I mean, we've had this conversation before. I think Zap makes more sense, right? Zap does make a hell of a lot more sense as the intention of who Backblast ended up being. Because that kind of happened with a few, didn't it? It happened with Downtown, who could very easily have been Short Fuse, blonde hair, Mortar Soldier. What more can you say? But yeah, that's I think Backblast would be well. I'd actually be well into Backblast. There's an underrated figure that just kind of slips under the radar every single time, because he's not crazy obscure, yet seems to still be a little bit crazy obscure. He walks a very weird line, Backblast. He's like very rarely brought up by people, never really on anyone's lists necessarily. I'm not saying that, because I'm sure some of you have put Backblast on list, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying you particular. I'm just saying in general, there doesn't seem to be a lot of people with Backblast on their list. But what an underrated figure, big time. I hope they don't do 2-pack Grand Slam and Flash. I don't think they will, Rancid. Target. Thank you very much, guys. I mean, let's be real. Only reason that 2-pack doesn't have mass on the front of the box is because there are only 3 elements, says Bias. Yes, good point. Derek says target. Yeah, got it, guys. Thank you. Couchboy says mine shipped today. Target. If you're interested in doing a custom in the meantime, I found a 3D printed Tom Welling head sculpt being sold on eBay that looks great in blonde as Fred's. Thank you, Bad Wolf Media, for that one. Missed out on that 2-pack. Hopefully my target gets it. They're numbered, which is classified to me anyway. Zap isn't. I get what you're saying, Rancid. So yeah, we all have our kind of collection ways, don't we? The way that we like to collect things, the way that we like to display them, the way that we like to store them, the way that we like to all that kind of stuff. So I totally understand if one of those things gets kind of a bit knocked out of joint a little bit, and it is a little inconsistent, I think, sometimes, where you get figures leaping around from retro to mainline to exclusive to this to that, and I think a lot of the time it's just however it works in the overall line plan, and then some of those rules they maybe have been following early on kind of just don't really apply anymore for other reasons, for logistical reasons, for things that might cause delays, for other issues and problems. So yeah, it'd be nice to get, like, there should be a TV show that just literally follows behind the scenes at Hasbro for, like, like a reality TV show, because one, it would keep the company a little bit, keep their nose clean a little bit. Like, they'd have to be very, very careful of what they were showing on a fly on the wall documentary series. But also, yeah, I also realize that it's difficult in those situations, and a company like Hasbro that has to kind of maybe protect a lot of its sort of processes and all that kind of, I don't know. Some of it makes me laugh when I hear, like, why can't that come out? Why can't that bit? Why did that bit of information only come out like 20 or 30 years later? Like, it's just quite funny, the kind of information they hold back. Anyway, Couchboy says, P.S. told all of you I was chairface the entire time, by the way. Yes, Couchboy, you are chairface. Put Ninja Zartan on the pink card, cowards. That's what I say, Scott. Grand Slam and Flash should come with Hal and Flak to get those weapons in the mix. That would be great, actually. And a really good shout, honestly, Rancid, because I think Grand Slam should come. Actually, I've said this before, but a lot of people disagree with me, and that's fine. I would love Grand Slam to come with a jump pad that doubles as a helipad for the Dragonfly. So it's a big chonking thing broken into like 4 pieces, so that it can be kind of constructed, but also fit in a fairly normal size vehicle box, and then have other elements with it, like the little kind of, the fuel kind of a fuel tank with a little I don't know what you call it now, but like a little hose on it that plugs into the Dragonfly to refuel it, and things like, oh god, what was the other thing? Oh, the little weapon transport could come with it as well. So you could make it like, you could fill it with lots of cool things. You could have like missiles and stuff as well, a few little like odds and sods that go on the actual weapons transport, and have a little seat and then the figure can sit in and everything, and then also a jump pad with the jump backpack for Grand Slam. And then you could get him on a retro card in the future with his red pads instead of his silver ones. Anyway, they should put out a pack of heads, both male and female, so you can truly army build. It would be a great idea, that, Cliff, if all the heads were, the neck balls were the same size. Unfortunately, they're not. So it would only work with certain figures going forward, which would, again, still make sense and be really cool. But there'd be a lot of figures that just they'd be completely pointless for. Again, not a problem though, because there are plenty of figures since they uniformed, would you say, kind of like standardized the neck balls. I have standardized the neck balls. If you can understand what that reference is from, then you get no prizes, but just a lot of respect from me. This discussion right here, the main versus retro, just shows why the manufacturers and design marketing teams can't ever win. No matter what they do, someone will bitch about it, including myself, Bad Wolf Media. Richard Mullin, really want a V2 retro Snake Eyes. Surprised we don't already have the most iconic version, the most popular character at this point. I agree with you, Richard. I would also say they probably feel like that was covered with the very first Snake Eyes that came out, the one that started the entire Classified series, because it's effectively a riff on that. But I agree with you. I think a classic retro version 2 Snake Eyes would be brilliant. It's just a shame they've done 30 Timbers at this point and haven't done that version of Snake Eyes with it. We have Night Force Short Fuse as well. Yeah, you're bloody right, aren't you? We do Airborne's Customs. So maybe that could be a 2-pack of Night Force in the making. Couchboy says, in the pose on Pulse, I can't tell if it's female or male. The pose is not easy to tell. Which pose? The one on the right? Thinner frame. The backpack is definitely the OG backpack because it's massive on her. But there's nothing, that's totally cool as well. And the sword as well. So those kind of parts reuse obviously make sense, but they are big, big weapons. Anyway, that is your female Crimson Guard. Nearly. There was one more. And now we're on to Crazy Legs. So, yeah, we also got Crazy Legs on the pre-order. And like I said, I got really excited when we started getting the digital explosion background. So that is straight away, I really loved this particular figure because it has, you know, that added element on the box. Whereas we've just had so far just the same explosion background every single time, apart from, was it Dr. Mindbender and the Viper? I want to say those both had the digital explosion, which is great. So the more of that, please, the better. I think Televiper, Cover Girl, and Flint all had the OG. Yeah, they did. They all had the OG explosion. So they're getting to some differences on the retro cards, which is like, they're so close. We are so close to getting something really, really interesting on a retro card. Do you know what I mean? Like something actually really blow your pants off, kind of amazing. I've missed a lot of comments. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to skip, and I'm sorry if I've missed everything. Do I need to buy an Arctic Hiss and HasLab in the next year? Geez, yes. Do you think we will get Motor Vipers, says Cliff? I would hope so. And a Stun, please. That would be a good MTO option, definitely. Nightfall Short Fuse used the Downtown Mold too. He did, Jeremy. He was in that weird Toys R Us pack, wasn't he? We need a retro card V2 Snake Eyes. I'm surprised that we don't have the most iconic version of the most popular character at this point. X Factors, have you copied the exact same comment or just written it twice with a different thingy? But anyway, I've read it twice now. I want an Armadillo in Classified. The tank or the driver, says Ed. Cliff, which one would it be? Brilliant. Ed says, I had the 93 back blast. Didn't hit as hard without his triple rocket launcher. You see, that is what would be absolutely phenomenal with that back blast in Classified. Imagine that weapon system being done by Lenny. I think it would be wicked. Typo Negative says, I'm a bit worried about the future of the line. Still glad I backed the Snowcat. You're a bit worried about the future of the line. Why, Typo Negative? Any reason? The tank, yeah, we've done that one. I love the CG uniform. I'd love to get more Joe's Cobras in dress formal gear, says Twisted Kister. Same. Cliff wants the tank, not the character. So you don't want the driver of the Rolling Thunder then. People have been, yeah. Scott Skeen says, man, The Office with Tony, Lenny, and Emily. I know, it would be great, wouldn't it? What do you think of Classified transitioning in more vintage packaging and let mainline? What do I think of Classified transitioning in more vintage packaging and let mainline? I don't quite sure. I'm not 100% sure what the question is there, David. You might have to rewrite that one again. I'm not, because I don't know what you mean. Classified, you mean the regular mainline transferring to vintage? Or I'm not quite sure the question. The Polar Battle Bear is another vehicle that could be made. Indeed, Droz. A Hasbro reality TV show. I can imagine the drama. I know. Stygian says, couldn't agree more, Chris. I don't know of what, but I'm glad. Bad Wolf says, I am stunned that we haven't gotten an ASP, but I guess the fact that I don't hear a lot of chatter about it might be a reason why we don't have it. I mean, there's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot of different vehicles you can get that you can put in the list of things we don't have yet. Jump pad, Dragonfly pad would be awesome. That's also a great idea. Make a whole diorama with a figure. I think that's a smart move since the vehicles are not going to go much longer due to space, as Rancid. Wilfredo says, yes, you should come in a jump pack. That would be so cool. Mark P587, I have a question. Why don't they release non-HasLab bigger vehicles like they're doing the Snow Hiss tank? We don't need lights on everything and we need watercraft. Yes, I guess we're going to be getting them, Mark P, with this made to order sort of thing. If that does well at the end of this year, I imagine it's a winter pre-order, so it's going to be soon. It's going to be either in November, December, before the end of the year, basically. So I don't know. But I think based on how that does, we'll probably see more going forward if it's successful. Grand Slam should have interchangeable silver and red pads, says GL. That'd be cool, but I think they'd be missing out on a repaint opportunity there. David says, Chris, what do I think of Classified transitioning from mainline to more vintage packaging going forward in the future? Is that happening? Is this a purely rhetorical question kind of thing, David? Like, is there any reason behind this? Because are they transitioning? Because I think personally what they're doing at the moment is probably optimal. I would personally love to see more vintage packaging, but then you don't get your box kind of like things that we've been getting since day 00. So yeah. Oh, Stygian says, what of the news that Classified will be leaning heavily into retro instead of Classified next year? I'm so confused at that question. There's news of that? Because have you seen the listings? It's anything but. It's the same amount of retro figures as last year. Actually, it's one more retro figure than last year because we had an inactive listing, and about 500 other listings on top of that for the other figures. So I don't know on that question. I don't know, because this is sort of the first I've heard of Hasbro transitioning from mainline to more vintage packaging going forward in the future. If you're asking me that question now that let's just assume that is actually happening and I'm aware of that, my thoughts on that would be, honestly, I don't mind. All I really care about when it comes to this line is the actual figures. Now, that doesn't mean I'm just throwing the packaging away at all. It does mean that I very much loved a certain type of packaging before they changed it. I loved the full-on artwork, then flip it around for a render on the back. I loved that because there was so much opportunity for like homage drops and like little added additions and stuff. I loved it. So my favorite sort of packaging for Classified is long gone. So whatever they do now, if they change it again, which is hilarious to me, then not only are they going to get moaned at for changing the packaging again, but it probably won't be the perfect thing that they necessarily think it is. That said, again, I don't really mind. Personally, I don't care. I like as long as it looks good, I don't mind. Like we're getting a little bit further from that terrible Flint artwork, please and thank you. That's what I want it to go like 100%. Oh no. Apparently the Facebook stream has been, that sucks. It looks like the Facebook stream has stopped. So that sucks. My apologies if that has happened. I don't know why that's happened. I haven't been given an actual reason. It's just knackered, unfortunately. Anyway, and it doesn't matter. In any case, I don't know what I have to do with that one. So just remove this destination from the stream, then re-add it. Oh, I'm not doing that. Sucks, man. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really sorry if the Facebook thing has crashed and disappeared. I don't know what the problem is with that, and there's nothing I can do about it at the moment, unfortunately. So I don't know what to do about that. Genuinely, not a clue. You'll just have to watch it on. Yeah, it's what the fudge, man. Seriously. Oh well. Bummer. I'll move on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with the whole packaging thing. This is the first I've heard of it. So, and considering like looking at the listings next year, I genuinely don't see how that balance works. But whatever, we'll see, won't we? We'll see how it goes. And like I said, I would. It doesn't really bother me what sort of packaging we get. I'm happy. We've already also, I kind of feel like the line has already very significantly moved, at least from a design perspective, into the vintage sort of vibe. So I don't know how much more vintage they can go. If it's just a packaging thing, then I really, again, I don't get it. I don't understand. And also, there's everything else you got to take into consideration that's going on at Hasbro at the moment, like all of the upheaval, moving, more layoffs as of last Monday, I want to say, even more layoffs. So our thoughts go out to Hasbro employees that were affected in that one. But again, just it is a grinder of a machine, isn't it? Like that kind of corporate situation. And it just literally churns and churns and churns. So it's kind of like that could definitely 100% have an effect on stuff that we see in the classified line. But yeah, I haven't heard anything from it, honestly. Anyway, that is Crazy Legs. Well, it's not actually, because there's loads more images of Crazy Legs. What I will say about Crazy Legs, because I've got off on a massive tangent there, is someone mentioned this today, and I haven't. It's really made me kind of go, you've got a point there. This head sculpt only works for like sometimes both. He does not look right just hanging out. Do you know what I mean? Like just like walking or just posing. It just like he just looks like an absolute psychopath all the time. I'm just going to kneel here and you know what I'm talking about. And he looks crazy. I know that's his name, but it's crazy. Solution to Hasbro's layoff situation and make more vamps, says PBJ Street Gang. Anyway, yeah, lots of it's interesting. And this is my favorite image of all of them. Obviously, this was an error. I'm not sure if it's been fixed on Hasbro Pulse yet, but this is hilarious to me. It's like look at that. So it's like whoopsie, someone slipped in Photoshop. Either way, this one kind of makes me feel like this embodies the actual craziness of Crazy Legs here, this image, and is my favorite image of the entire situation. But yeah, in any case, there you go. Yeah, exactly, Rancid. I'm reloading. Look at me reloading. That's what it looks like on the left, doesn't it? He just looks absolutely insane. Like it only works in a couple of scenarios. The one on the right looks okay because he's firing, he's like aggressive. Yeah, that makes sense. The knife, maybe, if he's being really aggressive. That one on the left, though, like he seems a little bit too aggressive for what he's doing. Way too aggressive on the right there for what he's doing. Even though those two look very similar, there is an angle difference. And then that one on the left is just like, mate, chill out. Just relax, buddy. You are literally going mad. Mad legs. That one I can understand. That face works when it's void Crazy Legs, Jeffrey, indeed. Right then. I think that's everything for Crazy Legs. Yes, we're into Zap now. We're into Zap country. So just a quick summary on Crazy Legs. I'll say I do love that figure. I'm really excited for it. But the head, it's only one display option, I'm afraid, guys. Now, Zap, they've gone definitely a little bit more the default neutral here, which is great. And I genuinely have no notes for Zap. I think he's spot on. Got all the retro gear. Really nice head sculpt. Yeah. I think he's just on point, this one. I know it's a full reuse of Short Fuse, right? Or is it Steeler? which one is it? I think it's short fuse. It's a full reuse, and then it's just the head sculpt. But we've got the new backpack, obviously, the Zaps backpack and the removable rockets. We've got the actual bazooka itself, which is Zaps as well. So there's some nice new elements to this one. Short fuse, yeah, thank you. It is short fuse, yeah. We found that out a little while back when looking at the two figures, so that's nice. Including like the secondaries as well, just different decos. But yeah, he looks great. And again, this one is a little bit more versatile with that head sculpt. You can kind of get him in any scenario and he looks right. Kind of has a little bit of the slick back Stark look, doesn't he? Howard Stark kind of vibe with that look. He very like he feels Howard Starky to me, Zap. Anyway, it's probably just the tash and the slick back hair, to be fair, but very cool indeed. And again, no notes on Zap. Like they couldn't really get Zap wrong. At the end of the day, he's a simple kind of design and figure, but still very effective. And those extra additions of the backpack and the bazooka just really, like, just set it off nicely. So yeah, Zap is like a no note scenario. Crazy Legs could do with his alternate head from the Night Force version, and the CG I think would have been great with some troop builder heads in there too. That would have been great. Anywho, yeah, lots of cool Zap images as well. Lovely stuff. There's a few more, is there? There's one more, this close up. This randomly Zap gets a close up image as well, but the others don't really get that. I think it's maybe just to show off the bazooka and him using it. But there you go. That's it. That is all of the pre-orders for today. Looking at those promo images as well again. Always nice to do and kind of zip through them. Red Walrus says, I wish the backpack had a peg to put the laser gun on and a knife. Very happy with this one, says Red Walrus. Excellent version of Zap, says David. Buzzbum says Zap looks awesome. I really hope we get a retro short fuse with this backpack. That'd be kind of cool, says Jeremy. They need to get to Vamp Mark II so I can put clutch with the OG13 and with the rest of the classified. Cliff says they could have given him a Crazy Legs face. They could have done. Bias says, think it's a pretty safe bet. Whenever we see the Vamp mold next, it will be the Mark II. Probably, yeah. Destro Design. Zap looked good out of the gate, but he's really grown on me to be really awesome. Awesome. So 2025 is now thoroughly and utterly complete. Check. Green. Done. Chairface inactive. Ralph T inactive. We'll never see them again, unfortunately. Chairface was never had anything assigned to it apparently, and Ralph T there was a figure there, but now it exists in the future. So I don't know if we'll ever find out who that is. If I do enough digging, I might be able to find out, but I might have to wait until the line plan of 2026 has been thoroughly and utterly decimated as well. And speaking of which, I've updated it for a change. Yes, I put the 3 retro figures in green already, so just another 6 to go so far on the listings. Obviously Lifeline, Night Viper, Hit and Run, Big Lob, Mole Rat, all done now. That's all sorted. We've got Hydro Viper unlocked, we've got Iceberg unlocked, we've got Cobra La Royal Guard unlocked. The Snowcat we know obviously is Gleep. The Arctic Assault Hiss with Driver we know is that on that vehicle listing. And then, of course, we've got Ninja Force Zartan, which is the MD Droopy Target exclusive. Taurus and Red Dog, Fanmazen, 2-pack, JQ Johnny. And, of course, those 3 already pre-ordered listings now for the Retro series. That is where we are. Zanya, still don't know what listing she is. So she could be mainline. She could be exclusive. She could be deluxe. She could be anything. So as of right now, don't know where Zanya fits in, but as soon as I do, I will unlock her on this list leaked listings. Okay. Is 2026 a 2-page itinerary? I know it's ridiculous, isn't it? Stanley says retro snow job ? That would be great. That would be great. There's a few actually that I think would make really good retro releases. Obviously, Ripcord could go in either mainline or retro. I think as a as a just as regular redeco is something that I think everyone wants. Retro snow job is a great shout, Stanley. I think doing like an all white snow job, all white, with a few less accessories, obviously, to make him retro carded and not deluxe. And then obviously you've got things like, what have I said in the past that I've forgotten now? Snake Eyes version 2 obviously makes a great shout to be on a retro card. But would you include timber is my question. And what would you do? Would you do something different? Would you, because we've got like 2 versions of timber already, but would you do a different version? Like, would you kind of like try and do something like clever or interesting, or I don't know, what would you try? Not bother with timber, because that would, timber as a pup blitz is actually not a bad shout, because it would be a lot less expensive. It'd be easy to fit on the card. Oh, that's amazing. Jeffrey said, would 3 columns work? At this point, probably yes. And I will, don't worry, it's getting updated, so we will fix that. But yes, we'll make it bigger for the people that struggle with that, myself included. Bias says, Lenny said when he discussed it with that His Tank mod that he wanted to make a new timber. Interesting. Ed says, nah, deluxe retro figure and pet make it really special. That would be kind of cool, actually. Timber with river otters, says Stanley. Lawrence says, timber with a machine gun mounted in his back. Now we're talking. Saxophone playing timber, says Carlos. Of course. Timber in tactical gear is a good shout, actually, Snake Eyes. Cyber timber, says Stygian. So like Blitz from Bowser and Blitz fame. Timber comes as a puppy. My wife would make me get it, says Walrus. Says Red Walrus. Ed says, I'm playing this on a 65-inch TV and these listings are still tiny. 6-piece timber to snap together, says Couch Pit Boy. Okay. Yeah. Tim BR. I like that, Jeffrey. Anyway, they're your 2026 listings so far. Whatever we find, we'll let you know. Like I said, Iceberg, Taurus and Red Dog, Ninja Force Sartan, Hydro Viper, and Zanya are the name-only reveals officially known at the moment. And we are down now to just these 2 for the rest of the year for digital renders, Arctic Assault Hiss and the Cobra La Royal Guard. Will we get more before the end of the year? Well, if we're getting some sort of made-to-order sort of pre-order event, I don't know if there's an event attached to it or what, but if we're getting something that makes sense with it, like a video or something, then who knows? There may be name-onlys, there may be renders, there may be something in that particular phase of play, marketing phase of play, that we get before the end of the year. But we're in November now, so we're in November now. Jeez. Wow. Can this year just chill out, please? And thank you. In any case, yeah, I'm not going anywhere just yet, but I am going to have a little message from our sponsors. That's right. The deluxe Battle Action Force Treasury editions are available at totaltoybooks.com in the UK and Europe and skeletron.com in the US. Go and get them. They're beautiful. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me to talk about the retro pre-orders that dropped earlier today. I will be back maybe at some point this week. Who knows? But then obviously we'll have the weekly on the weekend. We'll have more Patreon episodes coming, I think, tomorrow, unless there's any news that comes out. I will be dropping an episode tomorrow on our Patreon. And other than that, let's hope it works on Facebook next time. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. For anyone that was watching on Facebook and has now moved over to YouTube, my apologies. I don't know what happened. It just decided, hell yeah, just going to cut it short. We'll see how that goes. In any case, stay fresh, cheese bags. And after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.